Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to be taking you through the IGCSE Economics MCQ paper for the year 2024. This is the October-November series and this is paper 1, variant 1. Let's get started. Okay, number 1. What has an opportunity cost in consumption? We have air, food, seawater, and sunlight. Now, there are different types of food or different items under food. So if you consume a type of food, you cannot consume another type of food, which is what the opportunity cost lies. So the answer is B. Moving on, in which case is it possible to set the level of reward before production takes place for the first factor of production, but not for the second factor? Now, the factors of production include land, labor, capital, and enterprise, and there are rewards for each and every single one of them. For land, it is rent. For labor, it is wages. For enterprise, it's profit. And for capital, it's interest. Now, the hack we're going to use over here is you can never determine profit before your production. So that will leave us with option D, because the second factor, enterprise, we cannot determine profit. So automatically the first factor, land, you can determine the profit because the reward for land is rent and you can set the rent before you start producing the product. So the answer is D. Okay, moving on. The diagram shows the production possibility curve or PPC for an economy. Which cost can be determined as the economy moves along its PPC from point X to point Y? Okay, when we're moving from point X to point Y, we see that more consumer goods are being sold and less capital goods are being sold compared to before. So your answer is B, the opportunity cost of producing more consumer goods. Okay, number 4. Which person is most likely to make a microeconomic decision as part of their job? Now, a government finance minister, that will be a macroeconomic decision and not a microeconomic decision. The global administrator of the HDI, that will also be macroeconomic. The governor of a central bank, it's a central bank, so it affects the whole country. The manager of a private sector firm. So your answer is D. Next, question number 5. What necessarily describes the market system? So you should know the market system can also be known as the free market system. So all decisions are made by individuals and not the government. So there's literally no government intervention. Hence, the correct answer is D. Resources allocated through demand and supply. Question number 6. The diagram shows the demand and supply of a product. The original equilibrium is at X, which point indicates the new equilibrium position if there is an increase in the price of a close substitute for the product while other things remain the same. Let's say there was an increase in price of coffee, then people will opt for tea, which is the close substitute to coffee. Hence, the demand for tea will increase. In this case, the demand for good X will increase. So the answer will be C. Okay, question number 7. A firm has the following supply schedule. What is the price elasticity of supply of the good as the price increases from $5 to $10? Okay. Now this question is a little tricky, so let me guide you through it. First of all, the formula for PS is the percentage change in quantity supplied divided by the percentage change in price. How do we find the percentage change of the quantity supplied when we're given values? You're going to do the final value minus the initial value, the whole thing divided by the initial value. In this case, 20 minus 10 divided by 10. That will be 10 over 10, which is 1. Multiply it by 100 to get the percentage, which will be 100. Do the same thing for the price. That will be 10 minus 5 divided by 5, which will be 5 over 5, which is equals to 1. Multiply by 100 to get your percentage, and you'll get 100. 100 divided by 100 is equals to 1. So your answer is C. positive 1.0. Next, question number 8. Why does the government provide certain goods and services in a mixed economic system? Your answer will be D. The government provides public goods because the private firms cannot charge for these goods. Okay, moving on. Question number 9. A government intends to subsidize bus fares and increase taxes on private motoring. How would this affect the private cost of transport? So, for motorists, it will increase, so it will be C or D. And then for bus passengers, that will decrease because they have been subsidized. So your answer is C. Okay, number 10. What is not a function of money? Answer is B, portability. Number 11. Bus drivers receive a wage of $15,000 a year. The government introduces a national minimum wage. Under which circumstances will the largest number of bus drivers become unemployed as a result of the minimum wage? Okay. If the government introduces a national minimum wage, which is greater than what the bus drivers are already receiving, which we can see from option C and D, which is $18,000, then more of the bus drivers will be unemployed because they will be made redundant, as the owners of the buses who are paying the bus drivers will not have enough profit in order to pay those bus drivers. And the demand for bus travel remains unchanged because the customers really do not care. Like, why would they care in this case? So your answer is D. Number 12. A clothes retailer borrows money to finance the opening of another clothes shop. Which type of growth is this? Since it is the same industry and the same stage of production, that will be vertical, and that will be option A or C. And since they are purchasing another clothes shop, but we know that external growth includes merging or a takeover, which is not anything related in this case. That will be A, internal and horizontal. What is meant by the internal diseconomies of scale? Since it's internal, it's talking about the firm and not the industry. So the options that we will consider are option A and C, and the average cost of the firm increases. That's why it's diseconomies of scale. So your answer is option C. Okay, moving on. Question number 14. A food processing firm decides to change from a labor-intensive production method to a capital-intensive production method. What is likely to decrease as a result of change? Now we know that wages are variable costs, and if there are not many employees, then the firm doesn't have to pay those employees. So variable costs as a percentage of total cost will decrease. So your answer is option D. Okay, number 15. What is an example of a fixed cost? That will be option B, insurance, because your insurance, the amount of insurance you pay to your company, does not ever change. Number 16. What is the definition of profit maximization? Okay, that would be option B. The firm is making as much profit as possible. Number 17. The Central Bank of Mexico is set its trade of interest to try to keep the rise in price levels only 3%. Okay. Which government aim was it directly trying to achieve? Since the question talks about the rise in price levels, that will lead to option D, inflation or low inflation. Anytime they talk about price levels, you should know that the answer is related to inflation. Number 18, the table shows a forecast for a government budget for year 1 and for year 2. What does the forecast government budget for year 2 show? The answer will be A. The budget deficit decreased when compared with year 1, as there is now a lesser deficit, or a lower deficit. Okay, the graph shows the impact of tax on the supply of petrol or gas. What can be concluded from this graph? So from the graph, we can see that the demand is constant and the supply has increased from S1 to S2. Now, obviously, the supplier will not bear the tax completely and face challenges of loss. So if the prices increase, then the supplier will generally um, increase the prices so that the consumer has to pay more. So your answer will be C. The impact of the tax will fall entirely upon the the consumer. Number 20, what is most likely to result from a successful supply side policy? Now, a supply side policy aims to improve the productivity of an economy. So your answer is B, economic growth. Number 21, the table shows the rates of unemployment and real GDP growth for an economy in year 1 and year 2. Which combination of policy measures would be most effective in returning the economy to the year 1 level of activity? Now, we can see that the rate of unemployment has increased and the rate of GDP growth has decreased. Option D would be the most effective, an increase in government expenditure and a decrease in the rate of interest. If you don't understand how we got this answer, you should go back and read all the policies. Number 22, the table shows selected indicators for the labor market of an economy in year 1 and year 2. According to the table, what is the most likely type of unemployment in year 2? If you don't know the type of unemployment, you should definitely go back and refer to your notes. Since there are more long-term unemployed people, the answer will be D, structural unemployment. Number 23, the table shows the percentage changes in earnings and consumer prices for 4 countries in 1 year. Which country has experienced the greatest increase in real income during the year? That will be option C. Number 24, the table shows the distribution of income as measured by GDP for 3 countries in a year. What can be concluded from the table? The answer is C. The distribution of income is most equal in Belgium. 25, the number of people in relative poverty in a country is decreasing. What is most likely cause of this? Answer will be C, an expansion of investments in education. 26, African economies may have rapid economic growth because of a large increase in their working age population. Based on this idea, which factor of production is most likely to grow significantly? That will be A, labor. 27, which statement shows 2 benefits for consumers from specialization at a national level? The answer will be A, decreased prices and better quality, because better quality can be bought from specialization. 28, an MNC opens up a new factory in a host country. What is a possible cost of this new factory to the host country? The answer will be B, increased competition for host country industries. Number 29, the diagram shows the change in exchange rate market for country X's dollars. Which change in country X would have caused this? So we can see supply is the same and demand has increased from D1 to D2. The answer will be A, a rise in its exports of goods and services. A rise in its exports of services. And finally, question 30, what is the most likely cause of an increased current account surplus in a country? The answer would be A, lower prices for the country's exports. If any of the topics covered in this video or in this question paper was difficult for you to understand, definitely make sure to check out other videos that I've posted on the topics. See you there.